Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of The Zone, the place where we help you level up your online presentation skills. And today's topic is one that's pretty near and dear to my heart because it's one that a lot of people seem to not pay too much attention to their body language in online meetings. It's kind of maybe, we only see half of ourselves in an online meeting. Maybe we think it's not so important. But as a matter of fact, I hope in the next 45 minutes, my guest, Tatiana, and I will convince you that body language is important, not just for how you are being perceived, but also for your own state of mind. So let me bring in my guest for today, Tatiana Rodriguez. Tatiana, hello, hello. It's so great to have you back. How are you today?
Thank you, Claudio. I'm feeling well, really conscious of all of my movements and nonverbal communication given the topic, but also, energized to have the conversation today and it's also near and dear to my heart, this particular topic, as I teach public speaking at a university. But on top of that, really, it's something that we can help other content creators, streamers, presenters to really be aware of because there's so many elements to think about when we're preparing for presentations that the body language piece, there's so many subconscious elements to it as well that we don't know to think about it. And so much of our energy goes to creating the words, creating the content, what to say, that we often forget that our bodies speak for us as well. And we just want to make sure that we have an understanding of how that happens, why it happens, and how we individually respond in certain situations so that we can come across the way we intend to come across, but also be able to come across as authentic people.
Wow, what a great introduction here, Tatiana. And so we are already leveling the field here in terms of the importance and why it is so important. And let's quickly say hello to our viewers that have joined us
Definitely.
online. Yeah, we have Said from Germany, the facilitator. Always a great pleasure having you here, Said. I hope you're doing well. And the same goes for Andreas in Singapore. Soon from the Philippines. I hope you will have a wonderful and great move to the Philippines from Singapore, Andreas.
Wow.
We have Jole from Germany joining us. Jole, always a great pleasure seeing your name in the comments here as well. And
That's two for
of
Germany.
course, two for Germany. We have Massimo Peroncelli joining us from Thailand. Massimo, I hope you're doing well and staying dry.
Hi,
And
Massimo.
Dick, good day to you, Dick. Real pleasure seeing you here, as well as Marie. Marie, real pleasure seeing you from San Francisco. Wow, we have a great group here. Lori is joining us from Florida. I hope you are weathering the storm very
Oh,
well and
yes.
successfully down there. Stay safe, stay dry, Lori. And Dick is just telling us he's from Sweden. Wow, we have an entire, tour of the globe because we also have Yash from India. Yash, always a great pleasure seeing you as well.
I love it. Such an
So
international group.
it's a great group, isn't it, Tatiana? I absolutely love it. And, we couldn't have done this a couple of years ago in real life. And today, at the push of the button, we are out there in the world and we can share our experiences. And in case you do not know Tatiana, Tatiana is an adjunct professor. She's teaching communication skills and leadership skills at Rutgers University. And I am a presentation coach. I'm a technology enthusiast, which basically it's just a fancy way of saying I'm a geek. And I'm also the host of the budding online presenters community, of which Tatiana is a member of as well. So, Tatiana, the importance of body language. It goes two ways, right? Because on one side, it's how we are being perceived. But on the other side, it
Yes.
also helps us a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about
Absolutely.
the importance, from both sides for the audience as well as yourself.
Well, let's ask it. Let's launch with a quick question, not a formal trivia question, just a quick question here. Right? How fast do you think first impressions happen? How often do you think how quickly do you think first impressions happen? Do they happen in less than 1 second? Do they happen in 3.7 seconds? Or do they happen in 7 seconds? So one, two, or
Ooh.
three. Which do you think is the right answer? How quickly do we make first impressions as people?
Oh, I
Uh,
love that question, Tatiana. And now, of course, you are cut off, but the answers are still on the screen. And we have already Dick saying less than 1 second, Massimo less than 1 second. Yash is going with 3.7 seconds. Marie less than a second. Saeed,
okay,
first
great
impressions
guesses.
only happen
Only happen
once.
once.
Yeah.
True. That is true.
Lori is going with
3.7.
3.7. Yole with 1. So we have a mix between 3.7 and 1 seconds. And you are still on your other scene there, Tatiana. If you want to switch back to you.
I will switch back to me in 1 second. I just want to highlight the correct answer,
Ah,
which
all
is
right, all
you
right, all
guys
right.
are
So
right.
let's go with this
It
one.
is
Okay.
it is less than 1 second, and that's according
Less
to a
than one
study that was
second.
done at Princeton. 1/10 of a
Wow.
second. 1/10 of a second. So this tells us, look, we are all basically judging each other left and right, and we're judging each other very quickly. But it's not as bad as it sounds because we have to do that. Our brain can't stop and think about every little thing. So we make very quick decisions. And to what Saeed was saying, we do only get one chance to make that first impression. It happens only once. And also, it's really hard to undo that first impression if it's unfavorable. So, as presenters, as communicators, as leaders, as educators, we have to be conscious about the way that we come across to other people because very often people are making those judgments about us based on our words and our nonverbal communication. So that's what we want to unpack today is talking about these concepts, Claudio, and it's crazy to think how fast people make judgments about us based on the way that we communicate.
Absolutely crazy, and so much for, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, because that's all we see in that first 1 second is the cover, right? And so to me, this is actually music in my ears, because I'm teaching people how to, have a good and an improved on-screen presence. And of course, having these facts of how important it is and how quickly people judge us is amazing, and just shows that, if you don't pay attention to it, you might miss out here or there. It's kind of like, we cannot see our own blind spots. And
Yes.
so, yeah, very cool. Now it looks like we have a very engaged and active viewership out here today, which
Yay.
is always great, because I love playful people. I love to play games. So let's play a round of trivia just to get this going a little bit here.
All for it, Claudio.
All for it. All right. So here is the first question. According to a study by Albert Mehrabian, what percentage of communication is considered non-verbal? Is it A, 25%, B, 38%, C, 55%, or D, 61%? Just put into the comments A, B, C, or D. Again, A is 25%, B, 38%, C, 55%, or D, 61%.
I'm gonna abstain from this one because I actually know the answer, so I won't take a guess on this one, but I
All
have some
right,
strong
all
feelings
right.
about this.
I have very, very strong feelings about it, and I see that some of our viewers do as well. So let's look at some of the answers. Said says, depends on how much and how fast you talk. All right, all right, all right. Massimo is going with D. Yash with D as well. Yole with D. And Lori is pointing out that this study has been misinterpreted a lot. And I will explain the true findings. Um, very good,
I'm with
Lori.
you,
I think we
Lori.
are all on the same page here. We have Andreas going with D as well. Nonverbal is everything. I kind of like that answer here as well. And D, most is nonverbal, even if you speak. And so let's have a look at the actual answer here. Most of you said D, but it actually is C.
C.
However, however, this is the big, big, big however, and this is, I think, what Lori also wanted to point out. And I have read this study more than once. It's in a book that Albert Mehrabian published in 1961 called
Yes.
Silent Messages. And as Lori pointed out, this study has been very, very much misinterpreted and taught over the last 2, 3 decades as a formula for, 55% is body language, 30 plus some percent is, I think 38 is auditory, and only 7% is the verbal, which of course is absolute nonsense. Because if I speak to you now in Swiss German, I am sure you will not even understand, 7%. Um, so the study in itself actually looked at incongruence, right? What do we believe when we are presented with a mixed signal? What to believe if somebody is saying, no, no, or yes, I'm really all for this, right? Which part do you believe? Do you believe my shaking the head, or do you believe the words that say, yes, yes, I'm all for it, right? So that's what the study is all about. And nevertheless, even if it's misinterpreted, don't put it aside, because the key message here, the absolute key message is that body language is extremely important. Forget about the numbers, forget about the statistics, but I think we can all agree body language is extremely important. Right, Tatiana?
Yes, and I absolutely agree because that study it wasn't done in a public speaking environment. However, right, so hopefully Claudio has convinced you that we shouldn't quote that directly in terms of percentages, but I love the word that you said, Claudio, which is congruence. And I think that's one of the big takeaways from today. The lesson number one is looking for alignment. We know, like, and trust people if they are consistently showing us signs that they are trustworthy, that they are likable, which means our verbal communication and our nonverbal communication have to be in alignment, not incongruent. Because if our brain has to wonder, well, which do they really mean that? I'm not sure that they really mean what they say. That does not build trust. It doesn't build connection with people. So having the congruency is step number one. But then, Claudio, then we got to talk about how do we build that congruency, especially if the nonverbal part is so subconscious sometimes and we're not even aware of what's happening in our bodies, especially if we're nervous. So this is a lesson that I teach in my public speaking class, and Bill Hugterp, who has a company called Own the Room, and I took some classes with him a while back. He talked about this concept called 3D speaking, and I'm going to teach it to you, but I just want you to know that I've adapted it to 5D speaking because I think we can add some additional elements in there. So let me share 1D speaking with you. So 1D speaking, what are we talking about here? 1D speaking is the words themselves. the words that we speak, the words that we write, the scripts we prepare, the notes, it's the words. They make sense. They're in line for our audience, right? This is the related to verbal. Then 2D speaking adds the tone. So our vocal energy, vocal variety is all in alignment. Again, these two things, words and tone. Then the third element, the 3D speaking that Bill teaches is about the body language part, right? We're adding those movements, those gestures being in alignment. But then 4D speaking, here's where I want to add media elements, which are the visuals, the video, and the audio that we're able to add in our real world. So, if you add a nice sound effect, I love little dings, sound effects into your content. And then the 5D, the fifth dimension of this. Well, first, let me just share words and tone are related to verbal communication. Then, body language and media, this is the nonverbal side of things. And one additional element to the nonverbal to make this 5D speaking that we need to be considering is our use of space. Now, in an in person environment where people are seeing us in real life, that is how we use the stage. That is how we set up the environment that we're going to be speaking in, teaching in. But then in virtual land, it's this, right? I've got the space that's my camera right now, and we have wonderful tools that allow me to share content right next to me, above me. I can put myself in a frame. So this is the framework, the elements that I want you to be considering as you're preparing your nonverbal communication. So obviously there's the verbal things, but we're not talking about that today. Claudio has tons of videos and guest speakers where he shares more about the verbal side, but we're going to focus on the nonverbal today with these different elements. So Claudio, what do you think of this 5D framework?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And yeah, as we are going on, I think you are going to give us even a demonstration with somebody who might volunteer from our
Top secret.
audience, right? So let's just put that out there. If you are in the audience and you would like to be part of today's show as a demonstration partner, um, indicate your interest in the chat and we will ultimately take it from there. But talking about bringing in viewers that are currently joining us on YouTube. I see Saeed was there before. Saeed, if you are still there, yes, you are. All right. So, Saeed, Saeed is also a member, like Tatiana, of the online presenters community. And it's a community that we are all like-minded people that get together in very regular intervals, in workshops, in what we call chat and chill sessions, in the presenters gym to practice our speaking skills. And Saeed, I would like to bring you in on the screen here today because Tatiana and I, we want to congratulate Saeed for something really, really cool. So as a fellow member of the online presenters community, Saeed, many, many congratulations of getting the Miro. What was the exact award? It was a real accomplishment. Tell us a little bit about it, Saeed.
Absolutely.
I was hello everybody, hello Claudio, or hello Tatiana, hello YouTube. First of all, I was conducted into the Miro Hall of Fame, where they pick people from different categories, and I won the award for best design in 2024, alongside a lot of other awesome creators from the Miro community and Miro fan base. I think it was like 8 or 10, I cannot remember exactly, but it was a large group. And for me, it was the design award I got. And I will actually get one. So next time you will see a huge glass award in my background. I already made space for it so I can show it off.
Nice, Saeed. Truly, truly nice. And I also had another reason why I wanted to bring you onto the screen here today, because I consider you a master of nonverbal communication. And this is something that you may not even be consciously aware of, that you come across to the outside world. If you are connected with Saeed on LinkedIn, for example, you know what I'm talking about. From time to time, Saeed posts these really, let me see if I can find one here, like this one, where Saeed is just playing around with objects on the screen, and he's using his body and his facial expressions in a tremendously productive and engaging way. Saeed, have you practiced this? Have you trained this? Or is this just your playful nature that you are bringing to the screen whenever you switch on your camera?
This is a funny thing, because when I started creating content, especially on LinkedIn, I want to share like visual content, like videos, for example, but I always struggled with recording myself, especially when it comes to talking in front of a camera. When I'm just by myself, we talked about this in the last episode, when it's just me creepingly sitting here and talking to the camera, I forget every language I ever learned. It's really hard. However, what I figured out is I don't need to speak. So I created this small clips. Usually there are 10, 12, 15 seconds. And I just try to send out my message without saying anything. And the only thing I got left is body language or facial expressions, which of course are then a little bit overacted just to make the point or to look kind of funny or silly, but just removing the whole verbal aspect of it just forces me to think of, okay, what do I need visual wise to to make a statement or to make people still understand what I'm talking about or what I'm showing without having any captions or any single word spoken. And this helped me a lot to just get going with creating this content. And now you can see I'm on the live stream and I don't bother that much anymore because it's just getting more confident with every time. So, okay, I got the visual part ready, right? And I did it for like a year without really, nobody knows how my voice sounds on social media, and then getting more confident. And now, yeah, it's way easier to not overthink it that much anymore.
This is actually really awesome, because I was looking through all of your videos that you have posted on LinkedIn today, because I was looking for one that I could share here with our audience. And I noticed this progression. For the first couple of videos that you posted on LinkedIn, there wasn't even your face on it. It was just like memes and funny things that you did, but it took you quite a while to actually get on the screen with your face, and then quite some longer while to actually start talking. And you are a member of the online presenters community. And this is the amazing thing. Saeed comes across on screen very confident and competent, and like he would have been doing this since day one of his life. But even Saeed, he finds value in joining a group like online presenters to increase his confidence and his competence in front of the camera. And currently the membership to our community is closed, but we will be opening it soon. So stay in touch, keep tuned in, because we soon will be adding more members, opening up the doors so that you can join as well. And I hope that you will consider that actually. So Saeed, you just received this major award, and it was very interesting to see how you prepared for that video, right? Because last week we had a session, a workshop on the online presenters community to increase confidence. And 1 hour after the show, you sent me a video and you were so super happy. Tell us a little bit about that before we are moving on with our program here.
This is serendipity. I was asked to, it's not really an acceptance speech, but the frame was like a 10 to 15-second video that they will then show during the live event, and it will be shown to about, I don't know, 80,000 people worldwide. It's also on YouTube. And I really, when I got this email, I thought, yeah, why don't you just shoot me? I mean, you're requesting to record myself and talking in front of an audience. I really, really struggled with 15 seconds of recording myself saying something nice while smiling, etc. pp. And we had this workshop about confidence or on-screen confidence, and I volunteered to practice with you, with the group that was there. And after that, I said, F-word it, just do it. It took me one take, turned on my camera, and recorded 20 seconds of my little speech and shout out, and just sent it out, and it was done. So yeah, and I know for somebody who is more confident in this, it sounds maybe weird, but for me, this 10 seconds of doing something in front of a camera by myself is really outside of my comfort zone, and it would take me like 100 takes, and I would still not be satisfied. But after that, I still had this confidence in me and just did it and get it out there. And I was happy with the outcome. So this looks nice.
Awesome.
And that's what I want to add about that too, is, I saw having the opportunities to do challenges, which I do in my classes as well, which was so awesome to see Saeed doing it, because you live vicariously through the person who's going through the challenge, because you're imagining yourself as well. And Claudio set it up so nicely for us. And so, find friends. Like, the three of us are there for each other for different things when we have questions, or if we need another person to be in the virtual room with us while we're recording something, or give us feedback, give us input, challenge us, and encourage us. I mean, Claudio has poured into my teaching for sure, and inspires me with his teaching so that I can bring even better services to my students. Saeed's creativity, it's like that creative friend. You're like, okay, awesome. I was really inspired by what Saeed did. I can do a little bit of this, or I can talk to Saeed, and I have, about how I can up my game and different things too. So I just want to encourage everybody to find communities, find circles, find friends, and definitely consider the online presenters one that we're all a part of too, because it does form networking connections, friendships, and it does help us become even better at our craft, because we're able to put our money where our mouth is and challenge ourselves to do the things that we teach and preach to others. So it's a wonderful opportunity, and it was really fun to see Saeed, in the hot seat and working it out and getting better. It was really fun.
Indeed. I actually enjoyed his progression, right? Because it was an activity that was spread throughout about 20 minutes. And with every single try that we did, Saeed he looked different. And this gets us back again to the body language. His body changed. His body clearly changed. And so we can turn this around, of course, and say, okay, when we are confident, we stand differently. We breathe differently. We just have a different presence. So we can turn this around and sit like we would be confident, breathe like we would be confident, and the confidence actually kicks in. There are a couple other steps and things to it, but that's pretty much the gist. Hey, Saeed, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you, Saeed.
We are gonna kick you back into the green room and continue. Thanks again, and one more time, big congrats to your award. So well deserved. This is actually how I met you, Saeed, was through your Miro workshop. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you around.
See you soon.
Bye, Saeed. See you soon.
All right. So Tatiana, are you ready for another quick round of trivia with our audience out there?
Absolutely. Let's see. I'm excited to see what the question is.
All right, this question here is this. What is the most common mistake presenters make on camera? We are all making a lot of mistakes, but what's the most common one? Is it A, moving too much? Is it B, not smiling enough? Is it C, talking too fast, or is it D, poor eye contact? Again, I'm looking for what you think is the most common mistake presenters make on camera. A, moving too much. B, not smiling enough. C, talking too fast. Or D, poor eye contact.
I'm
Let's
torn
have,
between two here. I'm torn between
yeah,
two, and I'm
yeah.
not 100% sure.
Which two for you?
I'm torn between people not smiling enough and poor eye
Yeah.
contact.
Okay. All right. Our audience is pretty set on D, with the exception of Saeed. He thinks it's actually one that's not on the list, and that is being on mute. And yes, that is definitely one
Totally.
of the big one. And then all of the above as well. Yole also goes with D. So let's reveal the correct answer. And again, the operative word here is most common mistake. And the most common one out of these seems to be poor eye contact. I've seen very, very accomplished speakers that are just nailing it in the real world. But whenever they are talking in an online meeting, it's kind of like one of these situations where they're looking at themselves predominantly. They're not even looking so much at the audience in a Zoom meeting. Sure, they're looking too. But the focal point very, very often is ourselves. Tatiana, what are your top tips to give to people so they can train? Because it really is a training yourself to look into the camera kind of thing. What are your
It is.
top suggestions to help people do that?
I think you have to channel your inner news anchor and just understand people who go through this training when they're becoming news broadcasters learn to look into a camera to mimic a natural eye contact. And I'm willing to bet most people who have had some presenting experience know this. And in a physical environment, we use the technique that we get from cameras called panning, which means giving eye contact from the person from the furthest right of the room to the middle to the person furthest on the left. So it's that natural eye contact. But of course, that's not the same in a virtual space. So the exercise that I love to teach my students as they're training for this is starting with identifying where is the lens of your camera exactly, which most people will probably have a webcam or a built-in one into their device. So just covering the camera with your hand so you can practice looking. I mean, this is what I'm doing here too. I have two monitors in front of me over here, but if I look at that, that's not mimicking natural eye contact. So I also had to train myself to look up in this space. I do use a teleprompter with an iPad so that I can place a screen right in front of that camera for when I need it. And I know, hey, look over here for when I want to speak to the audience. So I can, grab my notes, grab my cues from the screens here, but then looking up here, and it just takes practice. You can also put a sticky or a sticker or something near your camera as a cute signal to yourself or a fun signal to yourself, like look here. You can put eyeballs, you can put anything you want over there. So I think that's probably the best approach to handle is just practicing getting used to it. And also remembering that it's never going to feel natural until somebody, I think in the future, will invent something that will help us have it feel more like natural eye contact. Like if anybody remembers Minority Report, where there's these like big screens, holographic style screens, that's probably coming soon. But in the meantime, we just have to get used to the fact that we need to stare inside black circles or little dots on our devices to mimic natural eye contact. And it will become more natural as you practice more and more. It will become a habit, but it's just something that you have to get those reps in and identify where your lens is so you know where to look.
Indeed. Great advice. So let me try this again with trying to find a demo partner here for a demo with Tatiana. We have about 10 more minutes on the clock here. I'm going to put a link into the comments. It's my website, sennhauser.com/guest. If you are interested in joining us right here, please just click on that link right now and we'll pull you into the meeting here. And if we don't find anybody who is brave enough, no problem. We have other things to talk about. So while you are deciding to get over your potential hurdle and gather up all of that confidence that you need to appear in a live show on YouTube. While you do that, Tatiana, let's play another round of trivia, just
Yes.
because.
And I'm ready
Yeah.
for that. And then
Yeah.
when you're ready, I have a couple other key elements that I want to share about nonverbal communication as well.
Good. I think the next time I invite you, Tatiana, we make it a 90-minute episode because it's unbelievable. The time is just always flying way too fast with you. What is a good practice for keeping your high energy during a virtual presentation? Is it A, standing up? Is it B, speak really, really fast? Is it C, speak softly? Or, because is it D, avoid using gestures? And C and
Or is it
D,
E, drink a lot of caffeine?
oh, drink a lot of caffeine. Yes. That could be another choice there. And the speaking softly and avoid using gestures is basically just to preserve energy. So you have the energy for your screen or whatever. So let's see what our audience is saying and guessing here. Said is right with you there, Tatiana. Coffee. Marie says standing up. Yash, not quite sure, but thinks perhaps standing up. Or A from Said, standing up. And what is your guess, Tatiana?
I also think standing up. And in fact, I am standing up.
I know.
And it's my preference, and the energy
Yeah.
does feel different, and I feel less restricted from the sitting in a bit of a crunched up. But listen, sometimes you're tired, you just got to sit down, which is why I have option for both. But I vote that it's A.
Right, all right. And Dick also has the last answer here, which says none of them. So,
None of
Dick,
them.
we really ought to talk after this because, yes, it is standing up, right? There is just something about standing up that helps us. Number one, with the posture, right? It's easier to slouch a little bit and to go inside like that when you're sitting. But when you're standing, you're automatically standing more straight, which means you're opening up more and you can take deeper breaths as well. I personally, I do sit because if I stand and I add more energy, it's just going to go over the top. So I'm gonna sit just to, keep it in check. But no kidding, no, I do have one of these standing desks, and hey, and I know you do too, because even if you stand from time to time, you just want to sit. So we have a taker for your experiment here, Tatiana.
Okay,
Absolutely.
very good.
So let's switch over and welcome Massimo, who is joining us from
Massimo.
Thailand. It's already late at night over there. Massimo, welcome.
Yeah, sorry for the wrinkled shirt because, as one of the new things in the online world is that basically you dress up only, this part up, and so it was the first thing I found. And anyway, but yeah.
Yep. So, Tatiana, over to you.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay, so before we get started, and thank you, Massimo, for volunteering to be in the hot seat today and talk to us about your nonverbal communication, I just want to share the different elements that need to be included as you think about nonverbal communication. You very appropriately talked about clothing because the first one is our appearance and grooming. So we should be thinking about that. And I agree with you. We live in a much more casual world too, but it's more about feeling good in your clothing, feeling good in what you're wearing, feeling and looking good. Then number two, so appearance and grooming is number one. Number two is the artifacts, things that we wear. That when I used to do photography and video, I had a holster around my waist and cameras at on each side. That identifies to people things that I do. So the things in our environment, the things that we wear identify certain things about ourselves as well. Then there is how we use our space, which is called proxemics. And in this case, Massimo, I want you to be thinking about, are you using space in your conversations where you might lean in a little bit to show something, or you might express big gestures? How might you be using your space? And then another one that is involved in this, especially if we're in person, is our senses. The senses as the speaker, as well as the senses of the audience members. Sight, sound, hearing, sometimes taste, even sometimes touch, right? Including our senses. That's part of the nonverbal experience. And lastly, is this thing called kinesics, which is what we consider our body movement and gestures. So it's a lot to take in a very short amount of time, Massimo. But for you today, what kind of content do you share online? Do you teach? Do you present? What world are you in when it comes to that?
Well, at the moment, actually, I'm teaching my girlfriend how to present online. So I'm on the other side of the fence. And this is not my typical setup. That's just how I was just, getting a chance to be online here. And well, I can tell you that being Italian, I have one advantage that, as everybody knows, we speak with our hands. So in a way, we use hands already, gestures more than average. That's for sure. Uh, on the
Yes.
other hand, also I've been a Toastmaster for some years ago, so I learned some basics about, for example, all the vocal variety things and having things on the real stage, right? Now on the virtual stage is a little bit different, but things like um, just forgot the name. What do you name an object that you bring on stage?
A prop.
A prop, yeah, sorry.
Right. Yep.
So using props also is good, is
Beautiful.
important.
That
Yeah,
is beautiful. So you've already showed us a few different things, right? Your use of props, how you communicate. You're basically doing one-on-one coaching with somebody that you care about, which is probably a little bit harder than doing it with people that are not so deeply connected to you, right?
sure, sure.
So, Massimo, would you be willing to give us two or three lines that you might say as a coach to us, and then Claudio and I can give you our input in terms of framing, expression, all of the nonverbal things. We're not going to address the verbal part because clearly, we
Sure.
you are coming across with energy and relatability, but we're going to look at the nonverbal piece. So act as if you're coaching us on presentation skills, and we will give you some input on that.
Just remember, pauses are truly important. So when you forget something of your speech, just stop. You will have time to remember that, and the audience will even follow you better. It's just a stupid example, but yeah.
No, not at all. Nicely done. Good work. Good work. Right. So, feels number one, you were leaning in, right? You came closer to the camera. So, you're changing your body position and using that kinesics and using that proxemics, coming in closer to the camera. You framed yourself up such that we can see your hands. I have a lot of people come to class and this is what I see, or just the eyebrows or ceiling fans. So, one tip I can give you is I can tell that the camera's a little bit lower than your eye level. So you could try to raise that up just a little bit, and it might be tilting it down so that we see a little bit less headroom, a little bit less of the ceiling, and more straight on to your eye level would be one tip. But leaning in gestures, that was beautifully done. And then we don't have time to go into all of the different elements of kinesics, but I really like your affective displays, which conveyed the emotion that you're feeling as you're sharing those things, which came across positively. And also using your hands as illustrators, which is something, Italian or not, it is helpful for us when people do that we know the Italians have a great reputation for using hand gestures in nonverbal settings. So I think that was really well done. Claudio, what do you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. And in the sake of time, because we are actually already at the top of the hour, I don't want to repeat anything you said with one exception, and that is the angle of your camera. Because when your camera is too low, it appears like we are looking up at you. And what's the reverse of that? You are looking down on us, right? So it's that dominant position that we are getting when we are seeing this kind of visual. If your camera is too high, right, and you're looking up to it like this, it typically puts you into a very submissive position, right? And it's like somebody sitting at the school desk looking up at the teacher. And so camera placement, but again, from a delivery point of view, your gestures, your facial expressions, and so on, it shows you haven't done this for the first time right now here. So thank you very much, Massimo, for
Great job,
playing
Massimo.
with us. Thanks a lot. And I'll put you back into the green room as well as we are wrapping this up. Again, I think next time, Tatiana, we have to do more than 45 minutes together because this was so amazing. And if you do want to get in touch with Tatiana, her website is tatianateaches.com. And if you would like to get in touch with me, my website, simply Sennhauser.com. And with that, first of all, Tatiana, thank you so much. As always, you just rock the wisdom, the experience that you are bringing to the screen here is just amazing. And of course, the energy as well. So thank you, Tatiana. Thanks to everybody who joined us here today live on YouTube. And yes, Tatiana?
Claudio, can I just show something? It will take less than 1 minute, I promise.
Of course you can, always.
Just want to show how in a virtual world, we can use the media elements to really help with our lesson. So, for example, you might do something on screen like this where you have a news flash by adding animation, or you want to talk about a concept and you can blur that background as something becomes clearer. Or, for me, this is something I created for my class, and I try and teach my students about spotlight effect. So, creating this is just more memorable to students or to our groups, our teams watching than just talking about it alone will do. So all of these nonverbal aesthetics, all these media elements add so much life to our content. And I want to encourage you to explore and play around with them because they will definitely elevate your virtual game 100%.
They certainly do. Thank you so much for this last minute demo. And if you are interested to learn how to do these kind of things in a quick way, in a supportive environment, and also get your practice in, because I always say, you can practice all day long. If you don't do it with a little bit adrenaline going through your system and doing it in a as close to real life environment, it's basically, not really helping you all that much. But if you practice with a little bit an elevated heartbeat, some sweaty palms and butterflies in your stomach, those are the practice rounds that count. And that's what we are doing at Online Presenters. As you can see, it works with everybody who came on the screen here today. So thanks again, Tatiana. Thank you for watching us live here online, and thanks for watching the replay if you happen to catch this later on. And I shall see you again next time. In the meantime, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. See you. Bye.